Life after 60 is a remarkable chapter, one filled with self-discovery, personal growth, and a newfound sense of freedom. It is a stage where the wisdom accumulated over the years becomes our greatest asset, allowing us to live with greater clarity and purpose. More than ever, this is the time to prioritize our happiness, well-being, and the things that truly bring us joy. However, one of the most important yet overlooked aspects of happiness in this phase of life is the ability to let go. Letting go of outdated beliefs, unnecessary burdens, and self-imposed limitations can open the door to a life filled with peace, fulfillment, and new opportunities. Too often, we hold on to things that no longer serve us, whether it's past regrets, societal expectations, or even habits that drain our energy. But the truth is, real freedom comes from releasing what weighs us down. In this in-depth guide, we will explore 9 essential things to let go of in order to create a richer, more satisfying life. Each point will be accompanied by thoughtful insights, real-life examples, and reflections on why these changes are so powerful. This isn't just about making small adjustments, it's about embracing a mindset shift that allows you to experience life in its fullest, most meaningful way. As we dive into this journey together, I encourage you to approach these ideas with an open heart and a willingness to grow. And if you find this content valuable, consider subscribing to Senior Life Unlocked, a community dedicated to empowering and inspiring those in their golden years. Your journey to a happier, more fulfilling life starts now. Let's begin. 1. Releasing the burden of perfectionism. Why letting go of perfectionism matters. Perfectionism can feel like a lifelong habit, one that pushes us to always strive for more, do better, and meet impossibly high standards. While ambition and a strong work ethic can be valuable traits, perfectionism often comes at a great cost. As we get older, the pursuit of flawlessness in our appearance, achievements, and even relationships can become exhausting. Instead of bringing joy, it can lead to stress, anxiety, and a constant sense of never feeling good enough. The truth is, life is not meant to be flawless, it is meant to be fully experienced. The happiest moments often come from imperfection, the spontaneous laughter, the unexpected turns, and the genuine connections that happen when we stop worrying about how things look and start focusing on how they feel. A real-life example. I once knew a woman named Martha, a loving grandmother who took great pride in hosting family gatherings. She poured her heart into every detail, setting the perfect table, choosing just the right decor, and ensuring that every dish was prepared to perfection. While her efforts were always appreciated, they also left her feeling completely drained. One particular Thanksgiving, after hours of meticulous planning, she found herself in the kitchen, overwhelmed and exhausted, barely able to enjoy the meal she had worked so hard to prepare. As she sat down, her young granddaughter reached for her hand and said, "Grandma, I just want to spend time with you. I don't care how perfect the decorations are." That simple statement struck a chord. Martha realized that in her quest to create the perfect holiday, she had been missing out on what truly mattered, being present with her family, sharing laughter, and making real memories. From that day on, she decided to let go of perfection. Future gatherings became more relaxed, filled with warmth, joy, and genuine connection. And to her surprise, no one missed the flawless table settings or elaborate meals. Lesson to take away. Perfection is an illusion. It keeps us chasing an unattainable standard instead of embracing the beauty of the present moment. When we let go of perfectionism, we make space for something much more meaningful: authenticity, connection, and true happiness. Instead of worrying about getting everything just right, focus on what truly matters: spending time with loved ones, enjoying the moment, and embracing life in all its wonderful imperfections. Because in the end, it's not the flawless details that we remember, it's the love, laughter, and the feeling of being truly present. 2. Quitting the need for approval. Understanding the power of self-acceptance. For much of our lives, we are conditioned to seek approval from others, our parents, teachers, friends, colleagues, and even society as a whole. From a young age, we learn that praise and validation often come with success, good behavior, or meeting expectations. Over time, this need for approval can become deeply ingrained, influencing our choices, our self-worth, and even our happiness. But here's the truth. External approval does not define your worth. Your value is not determined by the opinions of others. Nor does it depend on meeting someone else's standards. Your worth is inherent. Yet, letting go of the need for validation is not always easy. It requires a shift in mindset, a realization that true fulfillment comes from within, not from external recognition. The moment you stop living for others' approval, you start experiencing a profound sense of freedom. A story of transformation. Take John, a retired engineer who spent most of his life seeking validation from his children. He had always wanted to make them proud, tailoring many of his decisions, his career path, financial choices, even his hobbies, around what he believed would impress them. He measured his success not by how he felt about his life but by the reactions he received from others. One day, during a casual conversation, his son said something that changed everything. "Dad, you don't have to prove anything to us. We just want you to be happy." John was stunned. He had spent years striving to meet expectations that his children never actually placed on him. That simple statement became a revelation. It freed him from the invisible pressure he had carried for so long. He finally allowed himself to pursue passions he had put on hold, make decisions that felt right for him, and most importantly, embrace self-acceptance over external validation. The takeaway: when you stop living for others' validation, you unlock a new level of inner peace and confidence. You begin to trust your instincts, follow your own path, and make choices based on what truly fulfills you. No longer weighed down by the fear of judgment, you gain the ability to live authentically and unapologetically. Ask yourself, are you making choices based on your own desires? Or are you still chasing approval? The moment you release the need for validation, you open the door to a life that is richer, freer, and far more rewarding. 3. Reducing stress over small things. Why worry less? As we grow older, life teaches us an important lesson. Most of the small frustrations we stress over are simply not worth our energy. The minor inconveniences, the petty disagreements, the fleeting annoyances, these things may feel significant in the moment. But when we step back and look at the bigger picture, we realize how little they truly matter. Yet, many of us have spent years allowing small irritations to disrupt our peace. We get frustrated over slow drivers, long checkout lines, misplaced keys, or technology that doesn't cooperate. These frustrations build up, adding unnecessary stress to our lives. But what if we could let them go? Learning to let go of these minor stressors frees up mental and emotional space for what truly matters: our relationships, our health, our passions, and the simple joys of daily life. The less we sweat the small stuff, the more energy we have for the things that bring us true happiness. Personal reflection. I once worked with a patient, Mr. Harris, a retired businessman who had spent most of his life getting irritated by the little things. If the grocery store line was too long, he would huff and sigh in frustration. If his neighbors were a bit too loud, he would complain for hours. If he couldn't find his glasses, his entire mood would shift. But then, something happened. Mr. Harris faced a serious health scare, a moment that forced him to reevaluate his priorities. As he recovered, he reflected on how much of his life had been spent stressing over things that, in the grand scheme of life, did not matter. One day, as he sat outside enjoying the sunset, he shared a realization with me. I used to get angry at things that were gone in a moment. But when I thought about it, I couldn't even remember half of the things that frustrated me last year. What a waste of time. Now, I choose patience. I choose gratitude, because at the end of the day, I'd rather spend my energy enjoying life than complaining about it. From that moment forward, he consciously chose not to let small inconveniences steal his peace. Instead, he focused on appreciating what he had: his family, his health, and the time he was given. Lesson to take away. Whenever you feel yourself getting frustrated over something small, pause and ask yourself, will this matter a year from now? Will I even remember it next month? If the answer is no, let it go. Life is too short to waste energy on things that don't truly impact our well-being. Choose to spend your days focusing on what brings you joy, peace, and fulfillment, because in the end, it's not the small annoyances we remember, it's the moments of love, laughter, and gratitude that make life truly meaningful. 4. Letting go of overcommitment. The importance of prioritizing yourself. As we get older, many of us feel an unspoken obligation to always say, yes, yes to helping family members, yes to volunteering, yes to endless social gatherings and commitments. While being generous with our time is admirable, overcommitment can quietly drain our energy and take away from the things that truly bring us joy. Saying yes too often may seem harmless at first, but over time, it can lead to burnout, stress, and even resentment. Instead of enjoying retirement or the later years of life, some people find themselves busier than ever, running errands for others, attending events out of obligation, or taking on too many responsibilities that leave little room for personal fulfillment. But here's an important truth: your time is valuable. And just as you once dedicated your time to work, family, and others, now is the time to prioritize your own happiness and well-being. A real example: Linda, a retired teacher, was the type of person who could never say no. When she retired, she thought she would finally have time to relax and enjoy her hobbies. But instead, she found herself busier than ever. She was asked to help organize community events, mentor young teachers, babysit for her grandchildren, and participate in multiple clubs. She felt guilty turning anyone down, so she kept saying yes, until she realized she had no time left for herself. One day, after missing yet another opportunity to sit down and paint, a hobby she once adored, she had a moment of clarity. She thought to herself, "Is this how I want to spend my retirement? Constantly doing things out of obligation while neglecting what makes me happy?" That was when she made a decision. She started setting boundaries. She learned to say no without guilt. She continued helping others, but only in ways that didn't overwhelm her or take away from her own joy. And in doing so, she rediscovered painting, spending hours each week creating art that brought her immense peace and fulfillment. And do you know what happened? No one was upset that she set boundaries. The world didn't fall apart because she said no. In fact, her family and friends supported her choice because they saw how much happier and more relaxed she became. The takeaway: time is your most precious resource. Unlike money or material possessions, you can never get it back. So ask yourself, are you spending your time on things that truly fulfill you? Are you saying yes out of genuine desire or out of obligation? What would happen if you started prioritizing your own joy? Saying no is not selfish, it's necessary. When you let go of overcommitment, you create space for what truly matters: your passions, your peace, and the moments that bring you happiness. Choose wisely, because your time is yours to cherish. 5. Ending unhealthy habits. The importance of health. As we reach 60 and beyond, our health becomes our greatest asset. The choices we make, what we eat, how much we move, and the habits we hold onto have a direct impact on our quality of life. While unhealthy habits may have seemed manageable in our younger years, they can become more detrimental as we age, leading to fatigue, chronic illness, and a decline in overall well-being. The good news? It's never too late to make positive changes. Even small adjustments, improving our diet, adding light exercise, or breaking harmful habits, can bring tremendous benefits. It's not about striving for perfection, but about making mindful choices that support our long-term health, energy, and happiness. A story of change. Tom, a retired mechanic, had been a smoker for over 4 decades. He had tried to quit several times but always found an excuse to continue: stress, routine, or simply habit. One afternoon, as he sat outside smoking, his young granddaughter sat beside him and asked, "Grandpa, will you still be around when I grow up?" That question hit him harder than he expected. He suddenly saw his habit not just as a personal choice, but as something that could affect his ability to be present for the people he loved. He imagined missing birthdays, graduations, and the simple joy of watching his grandchildren grow. That day, he made a commitment. Instead of reaching for a cigarette, he started replacing smoking breaks with short walks around the neighborhood. At first, it was difficult. His body craved the habit, but he reminded himself of his granddaughter's words every time the urge returned. Over time, those short walks turned into longer strolls, and he found himself breathing easier, feeling stronger, and experiencing less stress. His family noticed the change, not just in his physical health but in his overall energy and outlook on life. He felt proud, not just for quitting smoking, but for reclaiming his well-being. Lesson to take away: small steps lead to big changes. You don't have to overhaul your entire life overnight. Instead, focus on one habit at a time. Checkmark: swap unhealthy snacks for nutritious alternatives. Checkmark add a 10-minute walk to your daily routine. Checkmark cut back on habits that no longer serve your health and happiness. Every small, positive change compounds over time, leading to a healthier, more fulfilling life. Prioritize your well-being, not just for yourself, but for the people who love and cherish you. Because the greatest gift you can give your future self is the gift of good health. 6. Saying goodbye to toxic relationships. Why it's essential. Not all relationships are meant to last a lifetime. Some connections enrich us, offering support, encouragement, and love. Others, however, drain our energy, create negativity, and bring unnecessary stress. Holding on to toxic relationships, whether with friends, family members, or even longtime acquaintances, can prevent us from fully enjoying life and embracing the peace we deserve. As we age, we come to understand that time is too precious to spend with those who bring us down. Prioritizing meaningful and supportive relationships allows us to cultivate an environment of positivity, love, and genuine connection. Saying goodbye to toxic people is not about anger or resentment. It's about choosing to protect your peace, your happiness, and your well-being. A personal example. Sarah, a 65-year-old woman, had been friends with Lisa for over 30 years. They had shared many memories together. But over time, Sarah started noticing a pattern. Every conversation left her feeling drained and unappreciated. Lisa would belittle her choices, criticize her accomplishments, and often make backhanded remarks that chipped away at her confidence. For years, Sarah brushed it off, convincing herself that long friendships were worth maintaining, no matter what. But one day, after a particularly hurtful conversation, she paused and asked herself, "Why am I holding on to a friendship that makes me feel worse instead of better?" That moment of realization changed everything. Instead of continuing to tolerate negativity, Sarah chose to step back. She stopped making excuses for Lisa's behavior and focused on nurturing relationships that brought her joy. And something incredible happened. Without the weight of that toxic friendship, she felt lighter, freer, and more at peace. She found herself drawn to new, uplifting friendships with people who genuinely valued her, respected her, and celebrated her happiness. She later reflected, "Letting go of Lisa wasn't easy, but it was necessary, and the moment I did, I realized how much better life felt without constant negativity." The takeaway: ask yourself, do the people around you uplift and support you, or do they leave you feeling drained? Are you holding on to relationships out of guilt, obligation, or fear of change? What would happen if you chose peace over toxic connections? Letting go of toxic relationships is not a loss, it's a gain. It creates space for deeper, more fulfilling connections with people who truly appreciate and support you. When you prioritize your well-being, you give yourself permission to experience life with more joy, love, and authenticity. Because at this stage in life, you deserve relationships that bring light, not darkness. 7. Letting go of regret. Why regret holds you back. Regret is a powerful emotion. It can weigh on your heart, filling your mind with what ifs and if onlys. It can make you feel stuck in the past, replaying choices you wish you had made differently. But here's the truth: regret serves no purpose unless it inspires action. At this stage in life, dwelling on past mistakes or missed opportunities only robs you of the present moment. Every new day is an opportunity to turn the page, start fresh, and create the life you want, right now. It's easy to look back and wish we had taken a different path. But the beauty of life is that it's never too late to change direction. The past may be written, but the future is still yours to shape. A real story. Jack, a retired carpenter, spent most of his life building homes for others. Though he was proud of his work, he carried a deep regret. He had always dreamed of becoming an artist but never pursued it. He told himself he was too busy, that it was too impractical, that it was too late to start. For years, he let that regret sit in the back of his mind like a book he never opened. Until one day, at 67, he decided enough was enough. He walked into an art store, bought a set of paints, and picked up a brush for the first time since he was a teenager. At first, he struggled, feeling self-conscious about his skills. But he kept going. He painted every day, experimenting, learning, improving. Within a year, something remarkable happened. He was invited to display his work at a local gallery. Jack's story proves something important. It is never too late to follow your dreams. He could have spent his remaining years regretting what he didn't do. But instead, he chose to act, and in doing so, he found a joy he had been missing for decades. Lesson to take away. Ask yourself, are you letting regret hold you back from living fully? What is one thing you've always wanted to do but never pursued? What small step can you take today to move toward that goal? Regret only has power over you if you let it. Instead of focusing on what you wish you had done differently, shift your mindset to what you can do now. You are not too old. It is not too late. The best time to start is today. 8. Releasing fear of change. Why change is inevitable. Change is one of the few constants in life. Yet it is something many of us resist. Fear of change can keep us stuck in familiar routines, even when they no longer serve us. It can stop us from trying new things, meeting new people, or stepping into new phases of life with confidence. But here's the truth. Change is not something to fear, it's something to embrace. It is through change that we grow, evolve, and discover new opportunities. Some of the most exciting and fulfilling moments in life happen when we step outside our comfort zones. Instead of fearing change, what if we saw it as a doorway to new possibilities? What if, instead of resisting it, we welcomed it with open arms? A personal reflection. Michael, a retired businessman, had spent decades building his career. His job gave him purpose, structure, and a sense of identity. But as retirement approached, he felt a deep sense of fear and uncertainty. He worried that without his job, he would feel lost, unimportant, or irrelevant. For the first few months, he found himself struggling. He missed his routine, his colleagues, and the feeling of being needed. He began to wonder, is this all there is? But then, something changed. Instead of seeing retirement as an ending, he started seeing it as a beginning. He explored new hobbies, learned to play the guitar, started traveling with his wife, and even volunteered at a local nonprofit. As he stepped into this new chapter with curiosity instead of fear, he realized something profound. His best years weren't behind him, they were still ahead. He was no longer just a businessman, he was an adventurer, a learner, a giver. One day, he reflected on his journey and said, I was afraid that change would take something away from me. But in reality, it gave me more than I could have ever imagined. The takeaway. Ask yourself, what change have you been resisting? Are you holding on to old routines out of comfort, even if they no longer bring you joy? What new experiences might be waiting for you if you embrace change? Change brings growth. It opens doors to opportunities we never knew existed. When you welcome change instead of fearing it, you give yourself the chance to live more fully, discover new passions, and experience life in a way you never have before. The future is not something to fear, it's something to embrace. 9. Quitting the chase for material wealth. Why experiences matter more. For much of our lives, we are taught that success is measured by material wealth, bigger houses, fancier cars, and more possessions. We spend years working hard to accumulate things, believing they will bring us happiness. But as we age, we come to a profound realization. True happiness is not found in things, but in experiences, relationships, and personal growth. Material possessions can provide comfort, but they do not create lasting fulfillment. The joy of a new car fades. The excitement of buying expensive gadgets wears off, and the satisfaction of owning more things is fleeting. What truly remains are the moments we share, the memories we create, and the experiences that enrich our lives. Instead of spending energy chasing wealth, what if we focused on making the most of the time we have? A powerful story. Jim and Mary spent decades working to build their dream life. They had a large house, filled with expensive furniture, fine china, and closets overflowing with clothes. For years, they thought their possessions were symbols of success. But as they entered retirement, they found themselves tied down by the very things they had worked so hard to acquire. The house required constant maintenance. The clutter overwhelmed them, and they realized they were spending more time taking care of things than enjoying life. One day, they made a bold decision. They sold their large home and downsized. Instead of spending money on things they didn't need, they started investing in experiences, traveling to new places, trying new activities, and spending more time with their grandchildren. They quickly discovered something unexpected. Their happiness increased. With fewer material responsibilities, they had more freedom, peace of mind, and time to focus on what truly mattered. They found joy not in what they owned, but in what they did and who they spent time with. Looking back, Jim reflected, "I used to think success meant owning more. But now I realize it means living more. The best things I own aren't things at all, they're memories." The takeaway: ask yourself, are you holding on to things that no longer add value to your life? Would you rather collect possessions or create unforgettable experiences? What could you do today to prioritize moments over material things? Happiness is found in moments, not possessions. The memories we create, the laughter we share, and the love we experience are worth infinitely more than any material item. At the end of life, we won't remember the things we owned, we'll remember the experiences that made us feel truly alive. Embracing a lighter, more fulfilling life. By letting go of these 9 things, you are not losing anything. Instead, you are gaining freedom, clarity, and peace. You are opening the door to a life that is richer in meaning, filled with joy, and deeply fulfilling. Imagine waking up each day feeling lighter, no longer burdened by unnecessary stress, outdated beliefs, or toxic relationships. Every day is a new opportunity. An opportunity to live authentically, to focus on what truly matters, and to embrace the beauty of aging with wisdom and grace. Life is not about clinging to the past. It's about making the most of the present and looking forward to the future with excitement. So ask yourself, what will you choose to let go of today? Will you release fear, regret, or the need for perfection? Will you make space for new experiences, deeper connections, and greater peace? As you reflect on these ideas, I invite you to continue this journey with us. If this message resonates with you, consider subscribing to Senior Life Unlocked, where we explore the beauty of life's later years with inspiration, wisdom, and purpose. Let's embrace this chapter together. Right finger subscribe now and start living with more joy, meaning, and freedom.